From September to October 1944 at the ancient city of Aachen, everyone assumed that the shattered German army that had lost the Battle of Normandy in the summer and had retreated back to Germany would remain shattered. An easy beat for the advancing US, British, Canadian, and French armies. But events at Aachen had proved them wrong. Here, the cut-off German force of 5,000 men had fought tenaciously and fanatically against American forces for the first time on German soil. The fight had destroyed the city and cost the Americans 5,000 casualties. The next objective for the US First Army was the Ruhr River. If the Germans released the millions of gallons of water held in the river's reservoirs, the flooding would prevent any US advance in the region for weeks. With winter fast approaching, the First Army's units were ordered to fortify. But to get at the dams meant advancing through the rtgen forest, a 54-square-mile area of densely wooded hills 3 miles east of the Belgian-German border. The Germans were surprised and delighted that the Americans decided to advance through the rtgen forest. Field Marshal Wouter Model, commander of German Army Group B, knew that his forces could hold the forest against all comers. The Americans' massive advantages in numbers, vehicles, and air power would be severely diminished in the deep, dark forest. The Germans dubbed the Battle of the Rtgen Forest the Miracle in the West. They were well prepared, dug in, and concealed infantry mortars and artillery units. Though the Americans outnumbered the Germans by 5-1, initially weather and terrain narrowed the odds in favor of the German defenders. As experienced soldiers became casualties, the Americans fed more and more green replacements into the fighting, with terrible results. The Rtgen Forest fell within 2 different corps areas of the US First Army, 5th Corps, and 7th Corps. 14 US divisions would be involved in the fighting at different times. Initially, the forest was defended by 2 German infantry divisions under strength at 5,000 men with 1,000 in reserve. The German commander, Lieutenant Hans Schmidt, was progressively reinforced as a battle developed. In mid-September 1944, as fighting in Aachen continued, US divisions probed the edge of the forest. Initial attacks were pushed back. Some villages were captured when US forces couldn't drive into the forest proper. German defenses were simply too strong. On the 5th of October, the US 39th and 60th Infantry Regiments, the 9th Infantry Division, attacked towards the town of Schmidt. They cut the Monchaux to Dieren Road, but suffered heavy casualties. The 60th 2nd Battalion lost 2/3 of its men in one day. The 39th was also halted under enfilade fire and tree-burst artillery strikes. By the 16th of October, the Americans had advanced only 3,000 yards into the forest, but lost 4,500 men. The 9th Infantry Division was relieved by the 28th on the 16th of October, and the advance continued. They attacked on the 2nd of November, the 28th Division's 109th Infantry Regiment, trying to capture the woods north of Germetta, ended up pinned down in a minefield 300 yards beyond their start line. They eventually managed to advance 1 mile in 2 bloody days. The 110th Infantry Regiment was assigned the task of clearing the woods next to the Kaul River and capturing Siemens Cow, a main supply route for the advance of the town of Schmidt. They also endured heavy casualties. The 112th Infantry, attacking from Gueremita, captured Bosonic and a nearby ridge, but were then halted soon after. A battalion of the 112th captured Schmidt, cutting the German supply route to Monchaux. The next day, the Germans counterattacked, led by tanks of the 116th Panzer Division. The battalion of the 112 Infantry in Schmidt fell to pieces, many being taken prisoner in an attempt to turn the tide. The 707 Tank Battalion moved forward a company of 8 M4 Shermans across the Cowell Trail to support the 112th Infantry. 5 of them were knocked out. The 116th Panzer Division attacked again, but this time the Americans knocked out 5 Panzer IVs and halted them. Phase 1 of the battle had ended with a German victory. Phase 2, codenamed Operation Queen by the US commanders, launched an Allied thrust to the Ruhr River. The US 4th Infantry Division was to clear the northern half of the rtgen forest between Schevenhütte and Rtgen. On the 16th of November, Operation Queen launched the 4th Division's 2 infantry regiments, the 8th and the 22nd, advanced parallel to each other. The 8th Infantry ran into heavy resistance at Trotter via Creek. The 22nd Infantry was beaten back. 3 days of fighting cost the 2 regiments 300 casualties. Engineers started blasting trails to get tanks into the forest. German reinforcements also arrived on the 21st of November. 5th Corps had a go. Its 8th Infantry Division attacked towards Rtgen. The 121st Infantry Regiment made daily advances of less than 600 yards amid heavy German fire. They took the town of Rtgen on the 29th of November and battled 1 mile north to Clenel at Varnen via Marauder. 2 US companies took the village on the forest northeastern edge, but the Germans threw them out. The 1st Infantry Division lost 300 plus, killed on the 14th of November. The 2nd Ranger Battalion relieved the 112th Infantry. On the 6th of December, the Rangers moved to Bergstein and then assaulted Hill 400. The hill, named because it was 400 meters high, was located a kilometer east of the village of Bergstein. It formed part of the Siegfried Line defenses and had a watchtower atop it. The fighting was extremely fierce, but the Rangers took the bunkers, a heavy cost against dug-in Germans. The Rangers fended off 5 German counterattacks, including by paratroopers. At one time, they were down to only 25 men still standing on the summit. On the last day of the battle, the Germans retook Hill 400 and held it. The Battle of the Rtgen Forest ended with a decisive German victory. The Americans suffered 33,000 battle casualties, plus another 9,000 non-combat losses. German casualties were around 28,000, including prisoners of war. As the Rtgen slaughter settled into a stalemate, the Germans prepared for a great offensive in the west, rallying their troops for the Ardennes offensive. Thanks very much indeed for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Our History channel.